All right, welcome back to episode 29 of the 20 Pages Book Club. On today's episode, we go through a quick weekend recap, the week leading up to Super Bowl. We'll see what everyone's up to there. We then get into part two of Babel, talk through chapters 16 through 23, then leading us into our meme competition right now as we look at the leaderboards for the year. Christian and Tyler are on the boards, while Kevin and I still are looking for our first point of the year. So trying to catch up there. And then we get into what our next books nominations will be. So each of the members has nominated 3 books, and the group will vote for the final 4, which we will decide next week. So looking forward to a great episode. Let's go. Hey, welcome back. Episode 29, 20 Pages Book Club. We're on our second book. But before we kind of get into what's been going on with Babel, why don't we go through a quick weekend recap? Christian, start us off.
Okay. So on Friday, I went on a double date with Kylie and then Kylie's brother, and we went out to dinner. Dinner was great, and then we went out to this. I don't know if you can call it a comedy show. It was a show,
Updating.
that's for sure. It's called Updating. I'm sure you've seen clips on social media, but it's where they like blindfold two single people, and they'll ask them questions and see if they're compatible. Um, it was, I didn't have high expectations. It was an absolute train wreck. The first maybe 30 minutes were really funny. They brought up this guy from the crowd who was wearing like an I'm single sweater, and the girl was blindfolded. He wasn't blindfolded. He was not a conventionally attractive man. I almost felt like I was watching like fraternity hazing happening in person at like a live comedy show. But this dude was funny. He was probably the star of the show. And then it was absolutely atrocious from then on out. The second girl that they picked was the most boring, like mundane person I've ever heard in my life. Just like, "Oh, I'm adventurous and like spontaneous, et cetera, like the most generic shit you can say. And so they couldn't really extract anything from her. Um, but yeah, I had like 4 glasses of wine and then woke up the next morning hungover, and then I went to training, then felt fine, but it was an interesting experience. I need another like comedy show, an actual one to cleanse the palate after that nonsense. So that was my weekend.
But Kylie enjoyed it.
I'll pass. Yeah, she agreed that the last hour was kind of a train wreck, but I think her and her brother enjoyed the show. Probably their more their speed than my speed of interesting entertainment. Um, I'll pass it back to Jared.
Yeah. So this week I was in San Francisco for work. So kind of was my whole week. Got back late on Friday evening. Yeah. So I was pretty much traveling the whole week, but week was pretty uneventful. Weather was nice in San Francisco, so that was good. Some 60-degree weather. Got to explore the city a little bit, and then what did I do this? I didn't really do much this weekend. Kind of kind of time changed out a little bit. There's a Pacific time's kind of weird, especially when you have like meetings on the East Coast time. You're getting up at like 5 in the morning for like Pacific time for an East Coast meeting, but is what it is. Not too much for me though this week. Uh, Kevin.
Uh, Pretty much the same. Not a ton going on. Did another 30 plus mile week for my training. Getting excited for the Des Moines half. I looked up what the final times were for last year, and to finish top 10, you had to go, so it was like 130 something, like 131. So, I mean, if everything goes right, I'd finish top 10 if it's like a similar field, which would be pretty cool for a big half marathon. Um Yeah, went and got a couple beers yesterday. Played some darts and pool, but luckily the couple beers didn't leave me useless today, and I was able to wake up and read the final chapter. Which waiting until this morning to read the final chapter was insane. But
You probably didn't get any of the subtle hints I texted throughout the week then.
no, I saw Christian say this is picking up, and it was because I had gotten mostly through it, and then yesterday I was just shambled. Yesterday my roommate Max made me go on a long run, but like it was supposed to be an easy long run, and he just put me into the ground. I was just eating his dust. Yeah, that was brutal. We were dropping like 7 minutes, and then like we dropped below 7 at like the end, and I'm just
Jesus.
like, dude, what are you doing? We're doing like a 10-mile easy run, I thought, and then it was pain. So I was rendered useless the rest of the day yesterday. But yeah, besides that, good week. What about you, Tyler?
Thank you. I didn't do much this week, to be truthful. I'm still waiting to hear back about the position I applied to at work, so interested to see how that goes. They delayed the announcement of that for another week, so we'll see. Besides that, hung out with my girlfriend last night. Wasn't too exciting. She lives like,
Damn.
well, I mean, I mean, I got there at 10, and then like we were
Nah, I get
sleeping
it.
by 12, so it was like,
Clip that. Wasn't too exciting. Clip that.
all
Send
right,
that to her.
all right. I think she would agree. Um, but
Damn. Perform. Never mind.
Didn't you go to the Nebraska Northwestern game?
I didn't want to talk about that.
Oh, I mean,
Oh,
well, you guys were playing an away game. Shouldn't you guys have known?
Yeah,
Shouldn't you have known?
we got throttled, unfortunately. But I mean, at the Welsh Ryan Arena is pretty cool actually. It's a well built arena for what Northwestern is. Like it's four or
It's a
five thousand
glorified high
people.
school stadium.
Yeah, but it's nice, and they can't fit anyone more than that. So um, it makes sense. So I think it's a pretty cool arena for what it is. And then Michigan got their brakes beat off of them yesterday by Nebraska, so we got some revenge. We were up
that
30 in the first half.
you like that?
Yeah,
Do you think you guys might need to win another away game to get in?
I agree.
Safely.
But we've in terms of strength of schedule, we've pretty much hit the hardest part of our schedule, and we got some not easy games because no game's really easy in the Big Ten besides Michigan, but we got some more more of the
Yeah.
average teams coming up. We don't face any of the top hitters anymore, so I'm hopeful. All right, that is weekend recap. It is weird transitioning to myself, but I will. Meeting 2, chapter 16 is where we pick up.
I got you. Now let's transition to chapter summaries.
Okay, there you go.
Tyler.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Chapter 16.
Tyler will never get it.
All right. Robin woke up the following morning late for class. He walked with Rami in complete silence and nodded towards Victoria. Cue Sweet Victory by SpongeBob. Who put that in? Is it Kevin?
It looked like he wrote out Victory, like victory.
That's how you sort of pronounce it.
I
But
thought it was Victoire. I thought
no,
that's
That
what
was
we were going with.
Victoria.
Victory.
Victoire.
It's like pronounce it like Victory. All right, towards Victory. Uh, once he arrived, they received notices that they would depart to Canton, spending 3 weeks in China. The trio speculated about the reasoning due to recent events, but they couldn't speak due to the presence of Letty. Joining them as a supervisor would be Professor Lovell. The trip would take 6 weeks to reach its destination. With that, the group was stuck with each other's company. Even worse, the confined space made it impossible to discuss the issue at hand. On the third day, Letty called out the awkwardness, and the group was already struggling to hide it from her. Robin took the opportunity to get fresh air, where he was greeted by Professor Lovell. The professor professed that he had been sympathetic to Robin and apologized. He wanted to start anew. Robin cringed but agreed. After a couple days, the trio finally got an opportunity to address the issue. It resulted in massive hypocrite Rami arguing with also hypocrite Robin about who the bigger hypocrite was. In the end, Robin revealed they had traded information for his protection, which sent Rami over the edge. For the rest of the trip, the group largely ignored each other. Professor Lovell prepared the group for their mission. They were to help negotiate on behalf of several trading companies. The goal was to expand free trade within China and facilitate the trading of opium. However, previous attempts had ended in complete failure. The tension in China was growing, and the locals didn't care much for the British. Professor Lovell made it clear he thought of violence as an acceptable response to the Chinese, which made Rami shoot a look at Robin. The professor added that women were not allowed here, so Victory and Letty would have to cosplay. With that, they arrived in China. All right, we pick up. They get the news that they're headed to China. Any thoughts on that plot line?
Just kind of came out of nowhere.
Pretty boring chapter, honestly.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head with hypocrite Rami, hypocrite Robin, but I didn't understand the dialogue after like they all realized they were part of Hermes. Like, why are they all of a sudden mad at each other that they didn't tell each other about being in Hermes? Like,
It was a semantics argument.
I don't know what that means, but sure.
I agree. I mean, no, I'm agreeing too. I think it's largely like they were arguing over small points when they agreed on the larger points, which is a little annoying in terms of the character. But and also I agree with Jared. It did seem like okay, we're immediately going to China. You know, feels like the plot point was just thrown in here, but we'll see how it develops.
And of course, it was Professor Lovell.
Yeah. All right.
It was like bad stuff happens. Professor Lovell knows what happened. Throw all the characters on the ship, isolated with Professor Lovell after he's mad at
Right.
Robin.
Right. All right, chapter 17. Robin recalled the last time he saw a Chinese person. It was a sideshow act using a Chinese lady as an attraction, more specifically, her feet. Robin felt so embarrassed when he realized that all the men were there to see the latter part. When they arrived on the dock, they were greeted by Mr. Bayless, their liaison. He said that the tension was growing, the British were being squeezed out. Lin Zizu was the Chinese man spearheading the new changes that included the banning of opium. The crackdown was so fierce, the English were kept in the factories for several days to attempt to halt the trade. Mr. Bayless led them down to the factories, giving them strict advice to not leave the area. It was forbidden. He left with one question: would the gentleman want some entertainment to be brought to them? The group awkwardly said no, and he left. They arrived at dinner shortly after. There, Robin realized that he would be immediately serving as the translator for the meeting with Lin. As the group said, he was the only one who wouldn't be perceived as a barbarian. The issue of discussion would be the opium bond. It would make the Europeans responsible for each foreign ship seized. Robin reviewed the points that Rami and him challenged the European position. Opium was a harmful drug for the people. Mr. Bayless countered that free trade was the issue of importance. Mr. Bayless eventually broke down and revealed the obvious reason: it made the British a ton of money, and he didn't care about the effects it had on the Chinese because he saw them as inferior. On their first days, they were put to work: Letty, Victory, and Rami on silverworking, and Robin on translating. By the end of it, they were exhausted. More importantly, Robin had to get away from Bayless. With that, he went out with Rami to explore the city. They went and visited Robin's childhood home, which had been turned into shops. However, something caught his eye. It was a brothel, and despite Rami's objections, they entered. Robin took a puff of that good shit, and before he got a lap dance, Rami pulled him out. With that, they're headed home. In a drug state, Robin apologizes for not telling Rami about Hermes. Rami reveals the connection between them, that opium is grown in his country and sold off to the Chinese, all at the British benefit. They were all victims. Robin faces an existential crisis and stands at the edge of the bridge, but Rami talks him off it, and they head home. The next morning, Robin headed to meet Lynn with Mr. Bayless. For the first few minutes, Robin was forced to rattle off Mr. Bayless's demands and his lectures on Adam Smith's economic thoughts. It's very clear the author does not like Adam Smith. Lynn listened and finally responded, saying he's heard of all this before. In addition, he challenges the legality of opium in Britain. After a fiery exchange, Mr. Bayless was just short of threatening the Chinese and was escorted out. That left Robin with Lynn, who began to question him. At the end, Lynn reached his important question: would the British ever come to the negotiating table? Robin responded that they would have to see them as equals to negotiate, which they didn't. With that, he was dismissed. A few hours later, they noticed a fire outside. It was opium. Professor Lovell came charging at Robin, but he soon calmed down. He announced they were leaving immediately. All right, so Robin, after the first meeting, gets all the opium burned because he, you know, tells the truth to Lynn, and also they went to a brothel, and also he almost jumped off a bridge. Any thoughts?
He also smoked opium and was unaffected, apparently. R.F Kuang has never done drugs in her life.
Clearly.
I don't think you
I
smoke
mean,
opium and then
Isn't it like a
like
isn't it like a hot
that.
isn't it like that heroin basically, right?
Yeah, opium is heroin. Yeah.
So
You after one puff and having never done it before, I don't think that you would be largely unaffected.
I think well
You'd be able to like
he was like
translate.
woozy. I don't know if like he had like some effect, but I don't know. Can't say on
I,
a first hand account that I
yeah,
I mean, I
I
don't
do.
understand like Robin was talking about his uncle and how he basically like right before he smoked opium, he was talking about his uncle and how he threw away the family's wealth by like purchasing opium and getting addicted to opium, and then decides right there on the spot after having this thought track to smoke opium. Is kind of interesting decision making
He's a hypocrite.
and internal dialogue on
said he
Kwong's
wanted to
part.
feel it.
Yeah.
he needed to see what it was all about. He's like spending this much money, I need to see what the talk's about.
Did he really need to smoke it to know it had terrible effects on people? Like, I don't know.
I don't know.
This chapter, they're also like, Bayless is like, yeah, Robin, you're the only one they'll listen to because you're not white. And then he leaves Robin in the room with Lynn by himself, and obviously Lynn only trusts him. And then Robin just says exactly what
Yeah.
everyone from Britain is thinking.
What?
And then, like, what do you expect to happen there?
Yeah. I guess my big thing, I agree with you. I think this, I complained about this in the last meeting, but I also complained about it again because it's still prevalent. It's very cause and effect, this book, where, like I said last time, something happens in the chapter before it and it immediately gets answered in the next chapter. Like, we start off this meeting, the chapter before, Robin gets caught and has the confrontation with Lovell. In the next chapter, they're going to China. And then they present that he's going to be the head negotiator, and then the opium's burning and they're immediately leaving. Like, the things happen so fast. Like, they present an issue and then it happens so fast. It's almost like they're they don't explore anything, you know?
You gotta let the reader forget
And
about it. So then you're like, oh wait.
Yeah. It's like when you guys know when like a comedian like says they're gonna say a punchline.
Callback.
Yeah, and then calls it back like 30 minutes later. Like, one of those wouldn't hurt anyone, you know?
There was we'll see in one of the upcoming chapters, there was one of those where she at least let it linger for like 3 or 4 chapters.
Yeah.
A
I
little
think I know which one you're talking about. I think
with the silver bar.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought she did a little better in like this next section of reading that we did of keeping us guessing. Like, it wasn't as obvious. Like before, it was literally like written out, like this is gonna happen, and then you'd read it
Yeah.
a chapter later. Like, I think she did, especially toward like book 4. I think she's doing a better job of.
Yeah, I was about to say this. I think book 4 is
It's way better than the
Yeah.
first section we read. So
I had my issues with book 3. I thought it was very cause and effect. Book 4 was better. All right, chapter 18, last chapter of book 3. Given the current events, they boarded the boat quickly and departed. Professor Lovell didn't take long, asking for a conversation with Robin. Robin took the racist berating, but challenged the professor's notion that he caused it. He said that he had rejected the entire idea of what the British were doing, but that he only directly translated. Then Robin turns the conversation after his father calls him ungrateful, claiming that he never wished to be a tool for Professor Lovell. Robin then asks what his mother was to him. The professor responds that she was just some chink. At this point, Robin is broken. He knows there's no way back. The professor won't even muster her name. This made Robin irate. With that, he pulled out a silver bar that had killed Evie, and Professor Lovell reached for his pocket. Robin was faster, and with a spoken word, the professor's insides were blown to pieces. The group came running in. They were left terrified by the lifeless body on the ground, too stunned to speak. All right, Robin,
My
Robin
my man
believes
Robin's stepping up,
Why don't
doing opium in the chapter before, and then he's caught a body.
Robin likes to play all innocent, and he's not innocent at all. He has murderous capacity.
He was seeing red.
He is very like it is weird. He's so powerful. Like he's one of the most powerful characters because of like, especially when they're in China, he was probably like the most powerful besides Lovell because he could speak the language. And then he also has like all these weapons. Like even later we find out like he's the one that's taught to use the guns and stuff, which makes no sense because he's like the least confrontational and the biggest pussy.
I love how guns. This is the first mention of guns in the entire book. Is when you get to.
Yeah. It's like why does he need a gun? He's got a silver bar that will just blow someone's insides.
He literally got a bomb.
He can just detonate anybody's insides and splatter them like paint.
As
Like,
long
he's
well,
gonna-
he has to get angry enough. That's because he has to truly mean it.
Yeah, I was
Anyone shocked that Professor Lovell died?
Like you said,
Uh,
I was
I
a
feel
little
like Robin-
surprised.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
like
This was, I would consider this a plot twist.
I thought you
hint at it earlier though. I looked back in the chapter when he gave him the silver bar. Like you could kind of see it if you connected the dots there, maybe, but we didn't. So credit to her, I guess.
Yeah, I think the twist for I knew, like I said during the last meeting, I think I knew Professor Lovell was gonna die. I thought it was gonna happen later in the book, though. I think
Yeah.
that'd be the.
I thought it was gonna be like a revenge arc where Robin ends up killing him like towards the end, where it's like this is for my mother and for Griffin and for me. But no, he just did it kind of by accident because he's a bitch.
I didn't.
Again, it's not a completely unexpected turn. Like I've yet to experience anything from our author here that is like that blows me out of the water. The only reason I say it's kind of a twist is because I felt like Lovell maybe had more to add to the story. Like I didn't think that his
Mhm.
Didn't think his
his
story was over.
I didn't think his contribution to the book was completely over, which it really isn't. But
Yeah, I thought there were still some unanswered questions with his character.
yeah.
The thing was now like there really isn't like a villain that she's fleshed out like left in the book. Like it's
Well,
like society as a whole.
Well,
I mean,
the most
but-
obvious,
I mean,
most obvious twist of all time coming up later.
yeah. I mean, yeah. But I'm saying at this point in the story, you're left with like, well, like obviously you could see some division forming, but
and that brings us to book 4.
Book
What would
4.
happen after the death of Professor Lovell?
The fallout. Some guys believe that he's just sleeping away in the cabin there. All right, chapter 19. The broke.
Just like the Fallout.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and just like the
Sentinel.
Fallout boys, Robin said, "Thanks for the memory," and blew his
I
dad.
thought we were gonna make a. Thought we were making a 1453 reference or whatever the book is.
I always get that date so wrong.
I do too.
All right, chapter 19. The group broke out into instant panic. No one knew what to do with the dead body. Robin tried to convince the group to let him turn himself in, but everyone agreed they were now accomplices.
This is definitely my chapter summary, by the way. That's why I was gonna say
Oh yeah,
that
yeah.
I wanted
Okay, my
to
bad.
read it.
I was like,
Go ahead,
damn,
go
this
ahead.
is short for a title.
All right, go ahead.
just
My bad. Go ahead.
wanted you to read one part out loud, but all right. Chapter 19. Group broke out into instant panic. Got my Tyler voice. No one knew what to do with the dead body.
With that,
With that, Robin tried to convince the group to let him turn himself in, but everyone agreed they were now accomplices. I don't know if that is the right word, but act confident. Oh. They finally decided they would stuff Professor Lovell's body into a suitcase and toss it overboard. Robin then asks everyone why no one was questioning what happened and why he did it. I can't do this any longer. Letty was the
every
first one.
sentence
It
sounds
like
like
trails off. It's like a question. Letty was the first one to speak and said that they understood why, which I didn't understand why Letty was the one to say it. I feel like that had some significance.
Because
The,
the abusive father uh,
ah,
similarities.
they maybe she wants to kill her dad. They cleaned up the room, brought the suitcase up to the poop deck, and tossed that ish in the ocean, never to be seen again. Robin still could not believe what had happened and ultimately regretted killing his father. On the Mr. Bright side, being the killers had brought Rami and Robin's relationship out of its cage and it was doing just fine. How did it end up like this? Christian only wanted Rami and Robin to share a kiss, only a kiss. They end up making it through the rest of the 2-month voyage with no kisses and no trouble. They find themselves back on England's shores, realizing without Babel and their stipend, they have nothing to their name. The group had to make a decision.
Fuck yeah. Good. Good job.
That was a really good Killers reference.
Thanks, guys.
It just kept going and going.
It was only a kiss.
I actually thought they were gonna kiss here. No joke. I thought that
What
this
is
was gonna be the romantic plot. I was just waiting
I
for it.
just I think what we said when they offered him like woman when they were in Canton. I think you're onto something that they're just not interested in general. So
I still think that, well, we'll never find out, but I still think that Rami's comment about Letty was less so about the race divisions between the two, and more so about sexuality divisions between the two. But we'll never know, as we'll see.
Could have a double meaning.
damn. All right. Any other comments, or it was kind of a toss the body overboard? That was basically it.
We'll get into it, but their like master plan for covering this thing up, I could not follow, and I almost think R.F Kuang like had no idea even what to do about this situation and just started making up a bunch of bullshit.
Their cover story was so bad.
It was terrible.
Yeah, we'll get into it. Chapter 20. Once the students arrive in Hampstead, they try to find their way to Professor Lovell's house. They all jump when they hear a woman yell at them from across the street, and luckily this was someone Robin had heard of from Mrs. Piper. It was Mrs. Clemens, who had a spare key to let them into the house. All the members of the group were very on edge and thought that everyone was onto them, although no one probably had the slightest idea as to what had happened on that boat. Mrs. Clemens stops by again to drop off food for the group, and after dinner, the group decides they will take shifts staying up and watching the door as everyone else sleeps. Once everyone is asleep, Robin sneaks up to his late father's office, not really sure what he was looking for. After opening drawers and reading through multiple letters, he found out his father had been co-conspiring a war between Britain and China. Rami finds Robin, and Robin instantly urges him to read these letters. Of course, Victoire was next, and Letty was left sleeping on her own. After everyone reads through all these letters, they all realized they would have to bring these to the Hermes Society. Then they heard someone in the doorway behind them. Of course, it was Letty, who had been listening to their conversation and was confused and baffled at what her friends had been hiding from her. The three tried to explain to her what Hermes was and why it was important, but Letty just could not understand. Eventually, they break through to her, and she starts sobbing and apologizes. Robin was relieved that Letty understood and was on their side, but they all still felt weird about Letty. After all the pain they had just shared with Letty, she was the one who needed comforting.
Blasphemous.
I think I said this in the last meeting, which is a part of the book that I actually like. R.F. Kuang is clearly criticizing the white savior complex. Like, you know, those like hyper left liberal people that act like they're part of the victimized group.
Yeah, it's the black screen people.
Yeah, it's it's the people that will, and obviously she ends up turning, which and we all saw coming, but that's the point, is that um these people act in a certain way with their words, but their actions never back up what they're saying. So
Yeah,
I thought I think it's kind of funny almost.
this kind of makes me wonder, like this section particularly, is Robin like bad at reading people, or is Letty good at acting, or like do
I
they
think there's
need
nothing you can
Letty?
do, like almost, because like you have to trust her, but also like you can't just like kill her. Like you can't just be like, well,
Well,
you know too much now. Like
well, I mean, she could.
She may get capped here.
That would have been the smartest move, I think, but I don't know if you can do that at the position they're at. So I don't know.
Christian, launch through the criticism of their plan. I want to hear your thoughts.
Okay, well, there's just too many holes. Like they tell everyone on board that Professor Level is sick, so he has to stay in his office, right? They get to Hampstead and they tell Mrs. Clemens that Professor Level is actually on another ship and he's coming back maybe sometime next week. And we'll see in upcoming chapters that's the same story that they tell the faculty, but the faculty is fully aware of Professor Lovell's schedule and what happened in Canton. So I guess they arrive like they have no plan to actually clear their names out of being potential suspects in the murder. Uh, their plan is just to kind of buy time until they find Hermes Society, which is filled with more 20-something-year-old fourth year or beyond students that probably have no idea how to clean this thing up either.
They do such a like they try to time is like the most important thing to them, right? And then they try to find a way to tell each individual group something different that can buy them time, not realizing
Yeah.
that if you tell everybody like people talk, like they're telling all these different stories. So like they're telling Mrs. Clemens that he's whatever on a different boat, and then they go to the school and they're telling they tell like one professor that he's sick at the house, but then he tells Mrs. Piper that or no, he also said that she was sick at or he was sick at the house there. I don't know. They were like it was like mass chaos,
Yeah,
which I mean that's
8 weeks on the boat, and they couldn't come up with a concise story.
Oh, he just said he fell off the boat.
I mean, say he committed suicide. I mean, that's probably better.
Yeah.
I was thinking the whole time there's been so many instances of people dying abroad, and everyone, like even among the faculty, is like, "Oh yeah, it just happens," and
like
then
on
they
the
create this
voyage. Yeah.
bullshit of him being sick. Like, just say he took another boat the whole time. Well, I guess you have to deal with the crew who has already seen Professor Lovell. I don't know. It was all over
I
the
feel like the
place.
crew like I feel like it never would have left the crew. Like they were literally saying like the crew didn't care about them. They kind of didn't like them because they're like privileged kids eventually in a privileged group coming from the university. So like I don't think it ever would have left the ship really.
Here's what you do. You instead of saying that he's sick in his room, just tell the crew that you haven't seen him either and that he just disappeared and you don't
Yeah.
know.
You clean up his cabin and you're like, oh,
We haven't seen him. Have you guys seen him?
me?
They're
Lovell.
not gonna they're not gonna suspect the little well, I guess there's racism involved,
Yeah.
which the author makes well known, but I feel like they still wouldn't suspect the kids if he were to just go disappearing on the voyage.
Tyler, to your white savior complex comment, it does definitely make you hate Letty more than like people who are just outwardly racist, like Mr. Bayless. Like he was a pretty insufferable character. But the fact that like Letty surrounds herself with these so-called friends, and then she she feels sympathy for them until she actually has to sacrifice something, just makes her so terribly insufferable, and you almost want her to die. I don't know if everyone else feels the same way,
Yeah,
but
she's a very well written character because
But you know how in the character of this someone like this, you know she's not going to die at the end of the story. Like she's going to be the
no.
only one probably living, knowing how Kuang writes. I would put my money that she's probably the only one that lives.
yeah.
Shout
He's
out
gonna
Tyler
act all
again.
innocent too.
Shout out Tyler for a good stopping point, by the way.
Yeah,
Give him his flowers.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I try my best for the group.
he hasn't missed
He doesn't
once.
miss.
No, he missed that one time.
Uh-huh.
I forgot which book it was, but he missed.
All right, chapter 21. I'm back. The group now became paranoid with their thoughts and annoyed with each other. Despite the tension, they boarded a train for Oxford. Once they arrived, they were treated to a meal by Billings, who got Letty to cry when asked about the trip. In the morning, they took to theorizing a plan. Victory took the lead, saying they needed two things. One, they need to get in contact with Hermes, and two, accumulate as much information to pass on to them as possible. In regards to an alibi, they stuck to the story that the professor had fallen ill. Robin was immediately challenged to present the story to Mrs. Smith. Within minutes, he was crying, saying he was scared of a world without the professor. Miss Smith worked to comfort him, and Robin enjoyed that comfort, for he knew that this was the last time he would see the woman. With that, he wandered towards the professor's office. In there, he found more letters implicating conflict. More importantly, he got his first glimpse at the professor's wife and family. The woman was looking for the professor. He had been missing baby daddy payments. Robin couldn't look away and was partially caught by the kid, who called him Papa due to the similar looks. Side note, I mentioned this, like, people say he's got Asian eyes, like, earlier in the book, but he also looks similar to Professor Lovell. I've just been confused by the characterization of his face this entire time. The group
So that kid's stupid. Professor Lovell's like 50 and Robin is like 20.
Call back to
He's
the
he's
river.
not going to Oxford.
Papa?
Papa. All right, the group reconvened and Rami presented a painful fact to the group. The faculty garden party was this Friday and they had to attend. They had to maintain appearances. The group entered the party and immediately looked out of place. Frequent outbursts and sweating. This was noticed by Professor Playfair and De Vries, who approached Robin. De Vries acknowledged the guilt in Robin's eyes, but carried on. With that, Playfair immediately asked about Professor Lovell. Robin went back into the playbook and told him the same story, except Playfair immediately called it out. He knew it to be untrue. Then something shocking happened. Playfair got in Robin's ear and confessed that he was within Hermes. Robin took a leap of faith, believing it to be true. From there, he agreed to meet with Griffin in the tunnels later that night. The pair departed following that. Robin almost immediately darted towards the exit. Despite the onlookers, the other members of the group joined. Once outside, Robin told them that Playfair was onto them, that he was fishing for information about Hermes. The group moved quickly, and suddenly they stumbled upon Anthony Ribbon. Da da da.
That was fire from Robin.
Someone called that Playfair was in on it, or was in Hermes. Not exactly true on how it played out, but someone suggested
I
that.
almost feel like it's still up in the air.
Yeah, that's how I feel too.
I mean, I thought he was pretty much not after that. Like Robin told him
I
a
think
blatant lie, and then he was like, "Oh, yeah, right."
yeah.
Like that's true.
As the conversation was happening, I was like, "Oh shit, Playfair's in Hermes." And then like post conversation when Robin like told everybody of his strategy and how he had uncovered him as saying false truths, I was like, "Oh, okay, I was completely wrong." I took that conversation as
The only thing that makes me
something that
think he
didn't
could
actually
still
happen.
be a play is that he mentioned the tunnels.
Well, aren't there tunnels like all around Oxford?
Yeah,
Like, is that
maybe, but
enough
it's
to-
kind of ambiguous what tunnels he's talking about.
Yeah.
At least,
I feel like the older members of Hermes would have mentioned something too about faculty being in on it
yeah,
if that was true.
but they could still be disconnected to the point. I don't know. I mean, I think he's not going to be, but it's still up in the air, I think.
I also this chapter, and the next chapter was just like Order of the Phoenix, Harry Potter, like just secret society. We all hide out here together, looking out for one another,
What's
taking
that called
secret
in Harry Potter
passageways.
again? The Order of the Phoenix.
Order.
Yeah, shit. That's the name of the book.
I have a comment I forgot
No, no.
to bring up. They called Lovell a hawk. He was one of the most hawkish for the war, and that brought me back to the Great Game. I learned that word in the Great Game.
Good,
What
good
word?
recall.
Good recall.
Hawk. He's a hawk,
Nice hawk.
meaning like he's pro-war.
I just learned that right now.
Yeah, I didn't remember that word, so
Always learning in this book club. Always learning.
There's an antonym. I don't know what the antonym is.
Bear.
Forgot.
they talk about the Whig Party and the what's the other party again?
Tories.
Tories.
Yeah, the Whig and the Tories.
Gladstone. William Gladstone mentioned
What?
too. He was the prime minister
The parallels.
of Britain at the
Unbelievable.
Parallels are uncanny.
All right.
No, no Elphinstone, unfortunately.
It'd be funnier if there was Elphinstone
Did I
in the book.
He was somewhere getting slaughtered in
If
a
I if I
getting
if I ever write a book, I'm just including Elphinstone as a character. All right,
Uh,
chapter 22. The group ran throughout the campus until they reached the chapel. There, Anthony led them through the wooden doors and unlocked a secret passage under the statue of Sir William Jones. Letty asked Anthony why he had left it. Babel, he had loved it. He started explaining that his abolitionist master had turned on his beliefs and intended to bring him back into slavery in America. Given this, he ran to Oxford, where he took refuge. However, he only realized that he had traded masters and that he still hadn't achieved freedom. Anthony leads them to the old library, their headquarters, and the reasoning that Griffin had been making Robin smuggle books. Figures began to emerge, and classmates, dead and living, made their way to the group, including Kathy O'Neill. After a group dinner, Griffin came into the room. He congratulated Robin on the murder and began to get to business. Anthony presented his plan that came down to the group becoming a lobbyist against a potential war in China. Meanwhile, Griffin planned to wreck a shipyard full of new steam-powered boats in Glasgow. They took to brainstorming the effort to sway the voting opinion. Griffin's contribution was the idea of holding Babel hostage, but Anthony and Kathy denied the idea. They wouldn't hold innocent people hostage. With that, the meeting was adjourned for the night. Griffin caught up to Robin before he could sleep, asking him to shoot guns in the yard. Robin protested that he'd never use it, but Griffin had him fire it anyway. Then went on explaining that violent revolution was the only method for decolonization. Robin took the opportunity to confront him about the death of Evie. Griffin explained that Evie had deceived him, serving as a spy for the professors. After months of this, she gloated about it. In that moment, Griffin confronted him and he killed her. Confronted her and killed her, although he claims it wasn't his intention. Robin then claims the same fact about killing their father. Another hypocrite moment. Griffin then moves to put the gun in Robin's hand and gives an entire "It's not so funny when the rabbits got the gun" speech about colonization and the fragility of the British Empire. Robin acknowledges the power he feels when the gun is in his hand.
Going back to the point of not letting things marinate, basically telling us what's going to happen in the next chapter with explained that Evie had deceived him, serving as a spy for the professors. Once again, not letting things marinate at all. So.
The one thing I couldn't stop thinking about in this chapter was Anthony just reminds me of MLK, and Malcolm X is just Griffin. Just like the thought process.
I didn't pick up on that, but
Griffin is half Chinese, half English.
I'm talking about their ideologies, not their race.
Okay, gotcha.
I see it.
Griffin definitely views a more violent process as the only way to overturn systemic racism, and obviously the Anthony character is more hopeful that peace can be achieved through peaceful means. So I think there's a parallel there.
Griffin's out there making pipe bombs.
Oh, what are the chances? I was just
might actually be more like the Unabomber than Malcolm X.
I was thinking right now. I mean, is there a decent chance that Griffin is the one that called in the police to the old library? Because ultimately he wants to get to more violent means, and the group is not getting there. So maybe the only way he feels he can get there is by destroying the other part of the group.
I think you're overthinking it.
Could be.
Yeah, bro's cooking nothing.
I just don't see that type of curve. I just don't see that type of curveball coming from our.
Letty literally walks in with the cops though.
Oh, but like
I haven't got.
She has to go for a stroll outside conveniently, and then she comes back with the cops.
Wow, I mean, it's classic. We all knew what Letty was gonna do.
Let's just do the last chapter and then we can.
You're onto something that Griffin I think has more up his sleeve, but I don't think he would have turned on his cohort.
All right, chapter 23. We'll get to theorizing. Kevin's right.
Yeah.
All right. The group awoke
Conspiracy.
in the morning to the sound of an ancient version of an alarm clock that imitates the sound of songbirds. When everyone awoke, they reconvened in the meeting room. They set out their plan to distribute propaganda pamphlets in London. From there, Anthony shows them a London newspaper with a headline about the murder of Professor Lovell, and their pictures drawn. That was except for Letty, who had been surprisingly excluded from the plot. Anthony saw this as an opportunity for Letty to write to her father. Following this, the group began to work on the pamphlets. Anthony uses the opportunity to give his perspective to Robin. He starts with saying that slavery was abandoned in England because it undermined France's dominance in Africa. Nevertheless, it happened. Point being, you can achieve positive things by appealing to the colonizers for reasons beneficial to them, mostly profit, but also religion. Given this, they can achieve their aims. It may not be in the picturesque way they dream of, but it is realistic. In all, they need to make it a class war, not a race war, to be successful. After finishing the plans, Anthony and the postgrads prepared for their departure, taking their turns to say goodbye. It could be the last time they see each other. Given this, Anthony provided an envelope with contacts in case of emergency. Suddenly, Letty exploded from the table. She looked pale and ready to vomit. With that, she left for some fresh air, giving a helpless look to Robin as she left. 30 minutes later, she hadn't reappeared. Suddenly, the kettle began to give a warning. Someone was coming. A few minutes later, policemen came bursting through the door. Letty had joined them and was now pointing a gun at the trio. Victoria sized her up and reached for the envelope. Letty took aim and Rami took the bullet. Lifeless seconds later, Robin responded with pure rage. He saw red. He lunged for Letty, but she ran. Just before he could reach her, he was taken by the policeman. From there, a rag was placed in his mouth, and he disappeared from consciousness. Letty turned on them. Oh my god, what a twist, huh? I mean, the whole book.
So
I guess the author is not trying to hide the fact that she's going to turn on them throughout the book. I mean, she hints at it almost every chapter. I think it's just it's when she's going to do it where the tension is.
all right, so my question was Griffin there?
He's in
No.
glass now.
He's going to
Right.
bomb
That's what
the
yeah.
shipyard.
Is everyone else dead? It was like
Yeah.
very confusing what was going on in the last.
Knowing this author,
Like, 3
she'll
pages.
answer it in the next chapter. The way I took
Like,
it, the way I took it is Robin and maybe Victoria are still alive, but just
So he mentioned seeing when with the bag over his head, he mentioned seeing no trace of Anthony, Kathy, and the rest. So I don't know.
I think
Like,
it,
was with him, or Victoria was with him, and
I think it's
she-
Robin and Victoria maybe the only ones left.
yeah,
and
Letty said they
Griffin.
were all killed.
We all know Rami's dead as.
Yeah, they got
Yeah,
pouring out.
surely.
Did you
I
expect
don't know if we can.
did
My
you
tea and
expect him
brother.
to take the bullet?
He's not a pour one out award, unfortunately.
I mean, I think we all said during the last meeting it's obvious Rami's gonna die. Did you expect him to die this way or
You want your flowers?
no?
I mean,
I'm saying we
that
all
was
did. I said we all did, not me.
it was
You
it,
know,
Oh, it was
yeah,
for you.
it was kind of played out because Letty liked him. It was like the most obvious character to kill him, other than Robin.
Yeah.
So I
And it
guess that makes sense. I didn't think Victoria was going to do it,
yeah,
but
Rami was the most like confrontational. So like Robin would have hit in a quarter, which I was surprised. He kind of grew some balls here at the end when he was seeing red, like Ty said. So
I thought he was going to pull out the
Yeah.
gun that he had, and he would be like,
gotcha, bitch.
He has the capacity for violence. That's for damn sure.
"Oh, it's
As
Griffin's
he-
in his blood for
He's
a
growing.
reason." I think he's a apprentice in training.
It stems from Lovell too.
Yeah, his character development. Now the next time he sees somebody he doesn't like, it might just be on sight.
Yeah, he's seeing red now. He's gonna go bomb that. He's gonna actually turn in the Unabomber on that tower.
Yeah, the tower. This was going to say she already hinted at what's next. The tower is the target. I don't know what's going to happen with the tower, but there's going to be some plot point with the tower.
I'm curious how they get out of this one. Is
I think
what I was thinking at the
Griffin comes and breaks him out.
Yeah, I think Griffin
I
has to
think
come
that-
back.
Griffin has to come back. I don't know who else is still alive. I assume it's
Yeah,
just them two now.
They're
So
about to put They're about to put the loosest security ever on this group of students who has now murdered a professor and been uncovered as being a terrorist group within Great Britain.
Yeah, probably. It's gonna be like one police guard. It's gonna be like the Jeffrey Epstein. The cameras are gonna be off.
Robin will still have the silver bar in his pocket.
That's what I was gonna say. He's definitely just got that. He's either what's the word? Is it Kiefered?
An
He's got
entire
he's got
silver bar.
yeah, he's got the
He's been
silver bar.
practicing.
That's what Remy was for.
Any predictions? Who you think? Do you think Robin's making it through the story?
Too hard to
Yeah.
tell. I don't know.
I mean, there's gotta be some sort of revenge arc here now.
All right, from Letty.
Unless we change perspectives, like on who's telling the story, like that would have to happen for Robin to be killed, I guess.
Is Mrs. Piper's story over? Maybe she was some sort of secret operative placed in
That'd be
the
electric.
house.
That's what I was thinking when we first meeting. I think she has a bigger part to the story. I just don't know what. I feel like
That'd get me
she
on
will
my
co-
feet.
she'll cover for him. I think. I don't know if she's exactly in Hermes, but I feel like if he escapes and like finds Mrs. Piper, she'll like hide him away. If that makes sense, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
so
got to
there-
be some hidden savior in here somewhere. Because now who's left to break them out? Like none of the other Hermes people. Maybe someone within the faculty. Maybe someone that has yet to be introduced, and Griffin and Mrs. Piper.
Professor Chuck Tarvey, maybe. I don't know. He might be the only one.
Chakravarti, yeah.
Chakravarty.
Chakravarty, yeah.
the author made
Playfair.
the author made a very big point that was the last time that Robin would ever see Mrs. Piper. Or whatever her name is.
Yeah.
Piper. Like
That
it's
wasn't
like
that was in Robin's point of view though, so
Yeah.
that was his guess.
All
no,
right.
I'm saying the author made it very clear, like that was in Robin's opinion the last time. So it's probably not the last time.
Yeah.
Like the whole last part of the chapter, he was just like freaking out about
I feel
what to
like
see her again.
I think so. Robin, and I think we're saying Victoria is still alive. I think Victoria's got to kill Letty. That'd be my prediction. I think.
I was gonna say she's done nothing for the story so far, so she has to do something.
Yeah, I think she's working towards killing Letty.
Yeah.
I'm actually excited.
I have
Yeah.
a side comment.
This second act of the book that we've read was head and shoulders above the first half. So
Like now I need to know what
Agreed.
is gonna happen now. So after this I'm probably gonna read and finish it.
Well,
I think I might too.
understandable.
Yeah, got some time.
I'm starting to get the feel that the interlude chapter on Rami was the only like character point of view outside of Robin that we're gonna get, which
That's
might
why I
make
was-
it an immediate contender for worst chapter of the year.
I already got. There is a Letty chapter in like 20 pages.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I don't know if there's a Victory one. It would make sense
There
if there's
is.
one.
I just looked. 'Cause I
Okay.
was
Well,
scared.
Okay.
All right.
so
Cool, guys.
So, so there's we get
Never mind then.
everyone's point of view.
I had a feeling she was going to do that, but I accidentally flipped to the Letty chapter.
The
like,
Letty
days
chapter
ago.
is gonna be like she knew months ago, but she couldn't do
That'll be
anything.
interesting.
I need like a double cross back. Like I need like a Departed type ending here, like where Letty's like, actually, I'm back.
Yeah, what
I
if
was
Lydia
gonna
with
ask
them? She wanted to create
if
this
you can
violence, so it would like
Can
Tyler's theory.
can she rewrite her sins?
I think she can. I just don't think this author will do it.
Yeah, I think she included Letty to criticize, like what we were talking about earlier. So I don't think she's gonna turn back.
What if Letty was told by Anthony to go get the cops when they heard the tea kettle? Well, actually she shot Rami, so never mind.
Yeah, it all kind of breaks down when you remember she just shot Robbie.
Is she wielding a gun? Like
I love how the book was like, it was so obvious she was holding a gun. She grew up the son of of someone in the military. Of course she knew how to fire a gun.
Like what?
Yeah, I didn't even know that until it mentioned it. Why didn't they just have like 8 Wuxing bars on hand and all disappear
She,
and go out like the back
Yeah,
door?
where's the invisible bars when you need them? Like,
yeah, they literally used them all the time, and then
And it said the senior Hermes members like obviously had a plan for this sort of emergency. Why is it not like onboarding 101 into Hermes in the old
yeah,
library to not fill the new people in on this emergency scenario?
or also like, why did they ask so many questions about like so secretive, and then they just let everyone in at once? Like, no background checks. Like,
yeah. I'm
No
surprised that was
security
yeah.
measures?
Yeah, letting Letty in is just like
they
you
did it
could.
to themselves.
Yeah, you can look at someone and be like, okay, probably not going to turn on us.
Is
Letty,
the Kathy character, is she white?
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
Kathy O'Neill.
There are other Hermes people like abroad currently, so maybe one of them comes to the rescue. I don't think we're done with Evie. I feel like we're not
Evie.
done with that storyline. Oh, and there was also someone else that the characters were all weird about mentioning. They're like, "Oh, after so and so, like, is when the Evie thing happened."
It's the other guy, Anthony. Who's that guy's son? Like the Wilson,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, is that?
right? Isn't
I
it?
think
Yeah,
that's
they all like wouldn't speak about this person.
yeah. It
I
was like
don't
an
know.
unspoken event
Because
that happened.
Griffin was. Remember, he was like saying he was either Evie or that one guy, like he was trying to recruit or something like that.
I guess we've been told two perspectives on the Evie's death. What I guess Playfair is the only one with the also different perspective. I would, I guess, what character is telling the truth is the difficult because Griffin's not really a trustworthy character, and neither is Professor Lovell. So you've been told the story through two characters that are untrustworthy. So what's really happened?
Yeah, I wonder if that ever gets resolved, or if we'll truly never know.
I feel like Playfair, like we're talking about, still has a part to play.
And who was the other guy he was working alongside with? DeVaris or something?
DeVries.
DeVries. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited though. I feel like I like actually can't completely predict what's gonna like. You can obviously figure out that Letty probably has to die, but besides that,
I guess the known
really,
plot points have already.
I don't think she's gonna die. I think the way the author has written her, that she's gonna be the only one that doesn't die or something like that. Because that's how like the white savior
yeah.
usually works. Like you're looking at that.
I'll be interested to see who ends up standing at the end of this book.
Tyler,
And
were the
there's
Opium Wars during this? They were during this time period, weren't they? There were two of them.
Yeah, one of them was at least. I'm not a huge expert on the Opium Wars, but
Was it China and Great Britain?
yeah, I mean the historical
So
fiction stuff has always been interesting to me. I mean, she's been tying
so
in.
this war is going to happen. Well, the first one was 1839 to 1842.
Yeah, I mean the characters are probably going to kick off the war in this universe.
It's already past 1842, isn't it?
No, I think we're right there.
Oh, well, okay. The Opium War is going to happen, so they don't stop the war.
I think
So,
I think the character
what they do?
kicked it off.
So
She has a whole trilogy about
yeah,
it.
yeah, I was just about to say the author has a trilogy on the popular.
The immediate issue was the Chinese enforcement of their ban on the opium trade by seizing private opium stocks from merchants at Canton. So we literally just saw that.
Historical fiction.
historical fantasy.
Yeah.
Wuxing.
But like their whole purpose is to stop this war that we all know is gonna happen.
Well, the kids
Is
are
it
trying to
just
kick off the war at this point.
This is just me, or is Wuxing like the coolest word ever? I say it all the
It
time
sounds
now.
like it sounds like disappearing.
Sounds magical.
Schwing.
Speaking Mandarin would be so sick, like fluently.
I was just talking about that this morning. I was like, dude, I want to learn it. The writing, it would be impossible, but like speaking and like listening would be cool.
No.
Our friend Brandon Cousins knows 3 words after his 3 years of taking Mandarin. So
He took 3 years of Mandarin?
His
Yeah,
His brother speaks it pretty well.
Oh, God.
he can tell you that he likes a hamburger. That's about it.
I like hamburger.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, ask him. He'll speak his one sentence that he knows.
All right. Any last thoughts?
I'm excited. I think there's some plot lines that I'm still interested in. I still have the same complaints for the most part, but it's definitely, I think we all agree that it's gotten way more interesting.
It hasn't been like
I
too
feel
painstakingly obvious. Like it's still there's still underlying tones,
Yeah.
but it hasn't been like as in your face as the first part, which I can understand why she did it in the first part, just because you're trying to get your point across. But I was going to be upset if it was going to be the whole book like that. So
Yeah, she definitely
I think
pulled
we
off the history lessons and the um I don't know. She
I
almost
think she's
felt like
just trying to
she was
get.
preaching at you.
Not all of us are as knowledgeable, or I guess all readers aren't as knowledgeable as us. We're pretty smart guys.
Good point.
Uh, know a lot about this time period. So for us, maybe it's a little overkill, but for somebody less educated, it might be tougher to pick up on. So that's why maybe the author does it to help build up.
completely agree. I think that we've been hypercritical of the book in like some of the minute details, but from an overall plot standpoint, I've enjoyed the story.
Been like, if you think back to like the beginning, we've read a lot.
I'm
Like I
so
feel like
glad we're reading this instead of Icebreaker.
well, you didn't have to say that. That may hurt some feelings in this group.
That's
no,
me.
I think Christian's right though. We've been hypercritical, especially in our first meeting. Just listening to it back as I do the editing on it, we were very critical. But I think it's definitely got better this as we've read on. So I'm excited to see where this ends up when we score it next week.
In a way, all fiction slash fantasy, like there's gonna be foreshadowing and the plot has to move. So in a way, all of it is gonna be pretty like chronological, I guess. So yeah, but I've enjoyed it so far. And with that, if you don't mind me saying this, Tyler, we'll we'll come back to you when we're ready to start the meme competition.
All right, welcome back to Meme Competition, one of our favorite segments of the 20 Pages podcast. Each member has come prepared with 2 to 3 memes, and we will share and at the end vote on our favorite meme. So I will determine the order. The order will be Jared first, Kevin second, Tyler third, and me fourth.
Mark going last.
Okay,
Lasting impression.
With that, Jared to kick it off.
guess I'll kick it off. I mean, this is just the most obvious meme
This is
that you
tough.
could.
I wanted to go before Jared. This is tough. Same exact meme.
This is the most obvious meme to come out of this story. I mean, like it just writes itself.
It's pretty good.
I
Pretty
think
good.
we're all thinking the same thing. I have a similar one.
Pretty
Wait,
good.
where are we? Oh.
I thought about that one, did not make it.
Like it wrote itself. I didn't have to do much. Like
As someone who doesn't watch the NBA, I'm a little bit confused on this.
The
I don't
quote,
even know what
the
it's.
quote is, he said, "Get ready to learn Chinese, buddy." That was the exact quote.
Send him
I think
to the league.
it was like something about Kyrie Irving, and like it's just been a meme for like so long now. Like anybody that's about to get fired, it's like get ready to learn Indeed, buddy. Like or something.
Okay.
All right, I'm up next. I thought Jared was gonna use this one. I want to get this one out of the way since something
I
else.
might still have it. I might still have the same one that you're about to put in. So
We'll see.
oh no, I was thinking about it.
I needed a third meme, so I just a toss up.
You should have photoshopped that on the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, I thought about.
Oh, there's a skeleton at the bottom of the ocean. You should have used the one that I used for Red Notice.
There's a skeleton for everything.
It was always skeleton.
Skeleton and briefcase. You probably could have found that.
Should just Photoshop clip art briefcase.
It was always skeleton. All right, I'm up.
Yeah.
All right, we'll start off with this one. We'll
It's a
Early
Tyler meme.
contender.
That's a through and through.
Early contender.
I don't know. I mean, it's not my favorite to be honest, but I just
I can put it on the
That's
list.
pretty good.
You guys want me to? Real quick.
Oh, well,
Ah,
there's nothing bad about that meme. Just
it's just average.
it's just average. That's the issue with it. It's inoffensive.
All right,
I
Christian.
think I'm gonna go with my best meme off the bat.
Wow.
Ooh, strategy.
Jonathan Isaac.
Wow,
Oh.
pretty good.
Why does it have Pinterest on
Yeah, I was about to say the Pinterest.
it?
Nice touch.
Did you do you know who Jonathan Isaac is?
Yeah, I had to
Oh,
look up
okay.
his name.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Good.
All right, this me.
Whoa.
Bow,
Wow.
bow.
Is
I
that
don't
what
know.
it is?
I had to look through. I thought it was like Gui Ching or whatever you guys were saying, but every time they reference it was Bao, which means to
Yeah,
blow.
bow is kill. There, yeah.
So I don't know.
Those
This
are
was
the
an-
two words I know. Wuxing and bao.
yeah,
All
don't
right.
go to China because everyone's gonna think you're like a terrorist. You just say those two
Literal
words.
bomb.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. I mean, to be honest, my last meme is the only good one. This is tough.
I mean that meme still plays. Like it's such a good meme.
Both your memes have been, hey guys.
Yeah, hey guys, it's
Hey guys, it's Swirly. All right, I'm cooking now.
Oh no,
oh, geez.
I'm cooking.
we're screwed.
I'm cooking now.
Yeah.
What is it?
What did you look up to find this?
It
Yeah,
took me
what
like
is
it took me like 30 minutes of googling to find this.
what is the
For sure.
like, what is this wolf thing? Like I see it all the time on Twitter and I don't understand it. Is like it's like the wolf sitting on like a log. Like what is that?
Oh, it's just like Alpha Wolf. If you search up Alpha Wolf,
Oh, I could have done a Brokeback Mountain meme. I didn't. I don't know why I didn't.
that's kind of what I was going for.
Oh dear. All right, Christian.
That's good.
That's a good one.
Big dog.
That's pretty good.
All right, I have a video meme.
Round 3.
Christian's on fire.
I'm hoping it sounds correctly.
Oh no, I know what this is already.
这个原则，为啥你们这样单调下？因为我是臭氧饭。
To me,
This Chinese beaver pops up all the time on
I know.
my Twitter feed, and I don't know what it is, but it just makes me laugh every time. And I just couldn't think of Commissioner Lin when Lord Bayless or whatever his name was like giving him the lowdown on the opium crisis.
All right, Kevin, your last meme. Oh my god. I love the in Christian's head.
Oh.
He made it pretty clear what he wanted. Never got it.
Never got it. Dad. All right, I gotta find my last one.
I'll say this has been way better than our last couple ones.
Yeah, this has been okay. You made me smoke some.
Put this on the list.
What? This is good.
That's pretty good. What is the actual text?
Waffles.
Waffles.
From Shrek.
Okay.
It's good.
It's a good one.
Christian was on fire this one.
Anyone have any honorable mentions?
I was gonna
No.
do a teardrop one of someone with like teardrop tattoos with Robin, but I didn't think it was gonna be good. But that was an idea I had in my head.
All right. Just to recap, we got at the top. We got get ready to learn Greek, Latin, and Chinese.
Classic.
Hey guys, it's Professor Lovell, DEA agent, Jonathan Isaac standing during the Black Lives Matter, bow, explosion. Hey guys, it's Griffin, the two alpha wolves, Tiger Woods, big dog, Commissioner Lynn with the beaver meme, Rami and Robin kissing in Christian's head, Donkey making pipe bombs, and Professor Playfair playing as a Hermes operative. All right, so 1, 2, 3, can't vote for yourself.
This is a good one. We hadn't had this.
Yeah, I don't know. Damn.
All right. That's my number 1.
Oh, damn. This is hard.
I know it's tough.
And just a quick reminder, though, if you're watching this, you can vote on your own in the Discord if you feel strongly about one versus the other.
All right, that's what I'm going with. All right, I'm ready.
Oh, no. Oh,
I'm
no.
ready too.
I'm not. Okay, I'm ready.
This
I'm
may,
ready.
This may take some calculations. I don't know. Everyone ready?
I've got bed. Yep.
All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, big dog off the bat has 7. I don't think anything has more than that. Pipe bombs is 4.
Yeah, I mean, big dog won, I think.
Big dog.
First placers will win you.
Yeah, they
I almost voted all 3 for Christian. I have Tyler's donkey meme was.
I couldn't
I
tell if it
don't
was
know why.
edit, and I think it's just because I hear in Donkey's voice like I'm making pipe bombs.
It's like so. It's like almost so bad. It's funny.
All right. Congrats, Christian. You are
Thank you.
winner of the meme competition
Outright.
for this book.
Outright leader.
Outright leader.
I think that's my first 2 in a row ever.
So
Me and Kevin getting a
Dynasty.
warm seat here. We might have to.
we got snake draft next week. Let's sign on
I
some
have to
categories.
go back to the drawing board here.
So we still got a lot of things to play for. Early in the year. We haven't hit February yet in the season. If we're doing college basketball analogies, we still have one thing to do though. So we'll transition straight to it. No need to cut. We are deciding the books for the next book we're going to read. So everyone has nominated 12 books.
Everyone's nominated 3 books.
Everyone's nominated 3 books. As a
Great.
total, we've nominated 12. So everyone has nominated 3. The group is going to pick one of each person's nominations. That will leave us with 4 books. Those 4 books will be put on the wheel next week to decide what we're reading. Books that do fail to make the wheel cannot be nominated again. So once they've been used, they're out. So everyone's going to go through their nominations. Jared, have you decided, do we want to do this? Everyone reads them?
Let's have everyone read them.
Okay.
And then we can vote after a couple minutes. We could let everything marinate a little bit, see what the other nominations look like. Because I think that plays into what you're voting for in some of the cases.
All right, let's start with Jared then.
Everyone unveil your
So-
options one by one.
Wait. Yeah, can
Yeah,
we go
yeah.
as we go? We unveil.
Yeah.
Unveil.
Okay.
All right.
So are you sharing the screen to the audience,
No.
Tyler, or how are we doing?
No, you're just reading it.
Okay. So my first book is
Yum.
Bitter Fruit. Am I sharing my screen of the Goodreads, or how are we doing this? Do you have it up on Goodreads for the audience?
No, you're just supposed to read it.
Live.
You're just supposed to read like a little tagline.
Okay. So Bitter Fruit is the comprehensive and insightful account of the CIA operation to overthrow the democratically elected government of Jacob Arbenz in Guatemala in 1954. First published in 1982, this book has become a classic and a textbook case of relationship between the United States and the Third World. The author makes extensive use of U.S. government documents and interviews with former CIA and other officials, and it is a warning of what happens when the United States abuses its power. So I think this was mentioned in Lost City of the Monkey God, actually, talking about the overthrow of Guatemala and kind of the delicacy in the region. I thought it's always been interesting, and I kind of had it on my list for a while, so I thought I'd include it. Next book, Dead in the Water, a true story of hijacking, murder, and a global maritime conspiracy. So in July of 2011, the oil tanker the Brillante Virtuosio was drifting through the treacherous Gulf of Aden when a crew of Somali pirates attacked and set her ablaze in a devastating explosion. But when David Mockett, a maritime surveyor working for Lloyd's of London, inspected the damaged vessel, he was left with more questions than answers. How had the pirates gotten aboard so easily? If they wanted to steal the ship and bargain for its return, why did they destroy it? The questions didn't add up, and Mockett would never answer them. Soon after his inspection, David Mockett was murdered. Dead in the Water is a shocking expose of criminal inner workings of international shipping, told through the lens of a brilliant hijacking and its aftermath. Through firsthand accounts of those who lived it, from members of the ship's crew and witnesses of the attacks to the ex-London detectives turned private investigators seeking to solve Mockett's murder and bring justice to his family, award. What kind of sentence is this? Anyways, so that's the story of Dead in the Water. Another one that I come across and thought would be right up our alley. And then the last one, The Spy and the Traitor. This is from Ben McIntyre. May remember from Prisoners of the Castle. This is said to be his best book, and I knew it would be right up our alley. So on the warm July evening of 1985, a middle-aged man stood on the pavement of a busy avenue in the heart of Moscow, holding a plastic carrier bag. In his gray suit and tie, he looked like any other Soviet citizen. The bag alone was mildly conspicuous, printed with the red logo of Safeway, the British supermarket. The man was a spy of MI6, a senior KGB officer. For more than a decade, he had supplied his British spy masters with a stream of priceless secrets from deep within the Soviet intelligence machine. No spy had done more damage to the KGB. The Safeway bag was a signal to activate his escape plan to be smuggled out of Soviet Russia. So began one of the boldest and most extraordinary episodes in the history of spying. Ben McIntyre reveals the tale of espionage, betrayal, and raw courage that changed the course of the Cold War forever. So this is a Cold War era Soviet Union and a spy tale.
Some fun ones in there. All right. I'm next. I will read my three. All right. Jared's going to like this first one. Seabiscuit, an American legend.
Horse racing guy.
Seabiscuit was one of the most electrifying and popular attractions in sports history and the single biggest newsmaker in the world in 1938, receiving more coverage than FDR, Hitler, or Mussolini. But its success was a surprise to the racing establishment, which had written off the crooked-legged racehorse with a sad tale. Three men changed Seabiscuit's fortunes. It's a legendary tale of the electrifying horse, Seabiscuit. All right, that is option one. Number two, The River of Doubt. After his humiliating election defeat in 1912, Roosevelt set his sights on the most punishing physical challenge he could find: the first descent of an unmapped, rapids-choked tributary of the Amazon. Together with his son Kermit and Brazil's most famous explorer, Canadio Mariano de Silva Rondon, Roosevelt accomplished a feat so great that many of the time refused to believe it. In the process, he changed the map of the Western Hemisphere forever. All right, and the third book.
Wait, I think I was going to nominate a book by this author. The Destiny of the Republic is about James Garfield, I think it was. Yeah. I think this
I
is the
saw
same
that
author.
book.
I think this is the same author. It was on potential for me to nominate it. I ended up not going with it though, but I saw this book.
All right, and the last one, The Indifferent Stars Above. In April of 1846, 21-year-old Sarah Graves intent on a better future, set out west from Illinois with her new husband, her parents, and 8 siblings. 7 months later, after joining a party of pioneers led by George Donner, they reached the Sierra Nevada mountains as the first heavy snows of the season closed the pass ahead of them. In early December, starving and desperate, Sarah and her 14 others set out for California on snowshoes, and over the next 32 days endured almost unfathomable hardships and horrors.
Mm,
Is this fiction or nonfiction?
It is nonfiction.
I like that.
All right,
All right.
Kevin, go ahead.
My turn. There's probably these are all just books I've already nominated before, so not very in-depth for me. Demon Copperhead, how many times can one book lose? That's the tagline for that one.
Uh,
Well, honestly, still don't even really know what it's about, to be honest. We just keep nominating it.
it's something in Appalachia. That's all I know about it.
It's like a coming of age story of some poor boy and oh my god.
Up next, Icebreaker, figure skating, hockey, a love story, smut.
God.
I actually heard today from my roommate's girlfriend that this book is incredibly smutty, which means there's just a lot of like hardcore sex in it. So probably not the best for us, but I'll nominate it nonetheless.
Can't wait for
And then finally,
Demon
the
Copperhead.
wager.
Oh, there you go.
For my summary for this, I put ship. True crime. True crime story of murder mystery that happens with ship. David Grant again. Barnes and Noble's author of the year. Can't go wrong with that one. So
All right, good to see Icebreaker will not
Ever be
be nominated.
well, you don't have to say that. We still haven't voted.
I basically tricked Kevin
gotta
with
play
the
the
3
games.
different genres.
Yeah, I was suppressed by the government.
It was only Tyler. I didn't say anything.
You guys are all appreciative of it, though.
Got.
All right. My turn.
This is gonna be interesting right here.
Shogun, Part 1. I wanted to read the whole book, but it's 1,100 pages, and it is actually broken up into 2 parts. So, Shogun, Part 1, James Clavell, 533 pages, historical fiction. Englishman John Blackthorne shipwrecks into 1600s feudal Japan and is taken captive along with his crew. Shogun details his integration and rise to samurai to 4.65 out of 5 on Goodreads. I don't want to hear any comments about how it's 2 parts in the series. I don't care. And what else was I going to say? Oh, it is being adapted into a TV show. I don't know when the release date is. And my director at work said it's probably it's his favorite book he's ever read, and he reads a lot.
Listener of the podcast.
He doesn't know the podcast exists.
For the best.
Okay. My second
Here we go.
nomination. This Communist Manifesto.
Fuck yeah, I'm voting for that.
Like, oh, Marx. It's 288 pages. I'm too stupid to write a summary, but it's nonfiction, and it's got a 3.65 out of 5 on Goodreads.
I mean,
And
it'd be
finally,
interesting.
for my last nomination, we have. Oh Jesus!
You don't have to
Birth
read it.
control.
Yeah, we could
is
just skip
civil
over it.
in Christian marriages and also robbing God of priesthood children. 2 exclamation marks. That's actually in the title. Elizabeth Yan Strong Anderson, 633 pages about anti-birth control. Probably meant to be nonfiction, but I'm calling it fiction. And on Goodreads, it is one of the worst rated books of all time with a 183 out of 5.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Kevin, do you want to conspire together?
I mean, the
What are we
Communist Manifesto would be interesting. I heard everyone's got to read it.
I
Would
feel
be
like we got to
interesting.
prove a point. All right. If you see there is a box that has been created, I guess that would be southeast of where these things have been created. So what
Big black box.
we're gonna do is we're gonna start by voting for Jared's book. So you're gonna write your book, and then we'll reveal. So Jared, you're not allowed to vote.
I'm not allowed to vote. Yes. So, Okay.
What number? What numbers?
Like, you made this so confusing.
No,
This is
no,
not-
you vote
not
one.
mapped out.
You vote 1, 2, 3. You put them in order. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. I see. Why don't you just? Okay, I guess.
So
I actually don't know which one of mine's gonna win.
me neither.
All right.
Give me a second.
I mean, if Icebreaker gets all threes, I'm gonna be pretty upset with this democracy, quote
I
unquote.
think I just wrote this in the wrong spot. Wrote it in Jared's box. I'm in Jared's box.
Uh-oh. I saw Tyler's second vote.
Okay.
I did too.
Shit. All right. You guys ready?
I think a major theme is
Yep.
there's a good chance we're reading something about a shipwreck or someone becoming
Yeah.
in the on the water.
All right, here we go. Dead in the water is the winner. Think.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so Dead in the Water will be placed on the wheel. That means.
Oh wait, no, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, dead in the water. All right.
All right, let me write down on the other side. Eliminate bitter fruit and the spy and the traitor. Cannot be nominated.
We'll eventually read Spy and the Traitor. I just don't know when.
Can't be nominated for, obviously just these 4 rounds. Not forever. All right. Me up next. So write your votes in there. I can't. Oh, Kevin.
Whoa.
I'm very curious to see what. I like all of my books. So
I'm questioning what just happened.
bro just wrote fault mark.
Oh, no,
Kevin's making up a book.
I couldn't scroll back over and look. I have this on like a tiny portion of my screen, and it's.
I could read them out.
I mean, it's. You understand what I'm saying?
Everyone ready?
How you can see
I think we're ready.
people's votes as they type them.
I'm ready.
All right. Let me unveil. Oh my god.
Whoa.
All right, the River of Doubt has 6 points. Seabiscuit has 5 points. Stars
Oh
Above.
shit, my
I
bad.
threw a wrench into this.
Stars Above wins. The Indifferent.
Stars above.
The Indifferent Stars Above. So Seabiscuit and the River of Doubt will be eliminated.
I love how we all wrote Seabiscuit a different way. I don't know which way is the right way.
I don't think I can spell, so I wouldn't look at mine.
All right, so the wheel so far.
Seabiscuit.
I definitely spelled it wrong.
All right, so the wheel so far is it Dead in the Water?
Yeah.
Dead in the Water and the Different Stars Above are the 2 on the wheel so far. So we're going down to Kevin's. Can't wait to see how this comes out. I think theirs could be actually interesting here.
Same.
I mean, it's gonna be a
If
toss
you're just right.
between Icebreaker and everything else.
Right.
Wait, I just had an idea. Should we let the wheel pick 4 random books and then we from our future possible books list and we create it as another one that gets to the finals?
No.
Or we do a wheel with every book that was eliminated, and one of them gets to make it to the.
we can come up with something for the next rotation. This is what we're doing for this rotation.
All right, let me do this one. Okay.
And if it's a romance book, it gets to be put on that wheel 4 times.
Okay.
Everyone ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. I think this is a 2-horse race, but who knows?
Unless someone.
All right, the wager wins today.
Oh, wager.
Wait, are we
Demon
not
Copperhead. Demon Copperhead is
Demon Copperhead cannot win.
Are we not doing 3 is the most points you can get, no?
No, unfortunately not. Sorry. All right. So far we got. Oh wait, so Icebreaker cannot be nominated anymore.
at least in the for the next 2 months.
Or
basically.
Demon Copperhead.
There's plenty more where Icebreaker came from, baby.
I have a good one for you, Kevin. That's actually on my list. I'll send it over to you.
All right. Our people will be in touch.
Yeah, people touch. All right, Christian's vote is the final one.
Oh, this is gonna be real interesting.
Me and Kevin may be conspiring. I disapprove about how Christian went about this, so I am throwing my vote.
What? You guys set it up for this. Fair enough.
Can we
I
not?
can elect what I want. You guys can vote what you want.
Can we not?
The democracy.
We might just have to spin the wheel. I can't. I don't know if I can sit here and wait for this wheel for a week.
Well, that's the tension.
Oh God, you're gonna
I
have
don't
me
like tension.
All right, everyone ready? Jared, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Edging or turning.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Kevin's actually thrown it.
What?
Jared left Demon Copperhead in for funsies.
It's
Oh,
still
that's supposed to be Communist Manifesto, but
Communist Manifesto with 7, but Shogun wins with 8. I
Everyone
actually,
always asks.
I could have thrown it.
Everyone asks me to collude,
No.
and the second I collude, no one actually colludes with me.
I
And I'm
never
just like, looks like an
never said
idiot.
anything.
No, I know it's
You guys really want to read the Communist Manifesto?
That could be interesting.
a different point of
At
view.
least it's short. At least it's 288 pages.
Yeah, you nominated 533. It's up there.
And it's only the first part.
All right, so making the wheel for next week is going to be the indifferent stars above,
Oh, wait a week.
telling the story of an adventure out west. Dead in the Water, a story of hijacking, murder, and global maritime conspiracy. The Wager, of course, by David Gran, our favorite author.
Ship.
Ship. And then Shogun, a story of 1600s feudal Japan.
Ship.
And
What if we just spun the wheel right now?
Yeah, what are we waiting
Yeah.
for? Why are
What are we waiting for?
ourselves?
then I got
We should vote.
I'm also
should vote.
gonna read Babel probably like by the end of the day today. And I'm gonna need something new to read. And if we get Shogun,
get
I'm gonna
more?
want to get ahead. Yeah. So it sounds like 3 members are in favor, and as
Don't
we
act
know,
like
this is definitely a democracy.
a mountain to set up the wheel for 4 books.
Wheel.
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 okay, so not
Wheel.
fine. All right.
I will say, Dead in the Water is only 288 pages. It might just be a 1 book or 2 meeting book.
1 meeting book. Sign me up.
I don't know how long the other ones are, but Shogun, you said 533. The Wager is probably like 3 something.
Yeah.
How long's Indifferent in the Stars?
I don't know.
The Indifferent Stars above women.
Fault in Our Stars.
Hold up, I gotta pull it up for the readers. All right. Everyone can see.
Have here a wheel.
Yes.
All right, we're not doing what it lands on. Remember, it's the last one standing.
Yep.
Very key.
And there's no chance that Icebreaker could just be tossed in there.
No.
Can you change the size of the sliver and make it like half the wheel?
Probably can't.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
definitely
you
could.
could weight it. Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Once you added Icebreaker,
I
like
will
50%.
I will throw in Icebreaker at 1%.
Oh, you don't want to do that because there's a less chance that it's landed on and eliminated. If you made it 1%,
Yeah,
it would
then
never get landed on.
Okay.
you want it to be you'd want it to be 99.
All right, fuck this. No, we're not doing it. We're spinning.
I shouldn't have said anything. I should have let you do that.
Oh, Shogun's gone first.
Right, see ya.
Well, we're reading nonfiction.
I feel like that is karma.
The winner. The winner.
It's been eliminated. All right, down to the final 3. I think we're reading either about ships or we're reading about an adventure out west.
My 2 favorite things.
Dead in the Water. Gone.
But
Okay.
this is ideal situation for me. These are the 2 I wanted to read the most.
Tyler,
Yeah, I'm not unhappy right now.
that's
Either of these will be fun.
that's why it's beneficial to do the way we did, because everyone has a say in it. All right, here we go. Who's the winner? Whoever this lands on is not the winner. Remember.
Well, we're reading the Indifferent.
Weird. One spinning the wheel wins.
That means I can't be on the wheel the rest of the 3 rounds.
Yeah, so Tyler's nominations are all gone after going forward.
This is the same order that we started with last round of books, right? Wasn't it Tyler first, Jared second, Kevin then me, then Kevin?
We went in like me first, then Tyler, then Christian, then Kevin, and then we did like the opposite, then Kevin, then Christian, then Tyler, then me. Like it was like a snake order, I think it was.
Indifferent Stars Above is 288 pages, and
I'd be able to do it
it
too.
is a 4.25 on Goodreads.
Dang. I might have to pick up Shogun as a side read.
You wanted it bad, didn't you?
I told Christian I was going to watch the show with him. I don't know.
What's it on, HBO or what?
FX.
Hulu. I thought it was Hulu.
Yeah, but FX show. I think.
Yeah. You fool.
Yeah.
Fucking
All right.
How'd you-
Send us off. Send us off.
Yeah, so I guess the next book is going to be The Indifferent and the Stars Above. So we get back to nonfiction. And yeah, it looks to be like an adventure tale, I think, after just quickly scanning it. But yeah, but before that, we have to finish up Babel. So we will be finishing the remainder of the book for next meeting. So make sure you read in preparation of that. And I believe we'll be doing Snake Draft as well. So looking forward to the return of Snake Draft as one of our competitions. But yeah, looking forward to another great meeting next week. We thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys.
Bye.
Peace.